Hello, 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 and welcome to my live. I need to make sure that I'm going live on Instagram as well. So I'm using StreamYard. So hopefully you all can hear me. Yesterday was kind of like a little choppy. This is today's day 2. So welcome to day 2 live, where I will be sharing with you things on real estate, what's going on in the market, a little bit about myself so you get to know me. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And as you come in, say hello, drop a one in the chat if you are new to my space. And also, if you're joining me again, thank you for joining me. Definitely appreciate you. But awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome to today's live. I am Shevvy, your realtor with KW Montgomery. I'm excited to be here, and I will be going live all this month. And like I said yesterday, it will be in different times. But if you're a first-time home buyer, drop a 2 in the chat. If you are a first-time home buyer, drop a 2 in the chat. Today, I want to talk about whether or not you should buy pre-build or build brand new. So welcome to this live. I am Shevvy, your realtor at KW Montgomery, a retired Air Force veteran after 22 years, and I serve the Montgomery and the surrounding areas when it comes to helping buyers sell and buy homes in the area, and also educating you. So it's not about just helping you to buy a home or sell your home, but it's really making sure that you are educated on making the best choice for yourself and for your family. And if you're relocating from a different um, uh, state, because you're military, definitely I can support you with that as well too, because as a veteran, I definitely understand the challenges that comes with finding a home. Learn about the neighborhood, especially if you have kids, making sure that you're able to get your kids in the right school system, not the right, but the school system that you will prefer them to be in. So definitely I can help you. So if you are like, hey, I am moving to Montgomery, Alabama, because I'm military, you can reach out to me by sending me a DM or just click the link in my bio to book a free consultation call, and I can definitely share some insight. And something that I'm going to be working on is a guide for you all to have moving to Alabama guide. So definitely stay tuned for that. All right. So today's topic is when it comes to being a first-time home buyer, there's a lot of uncertainties. So I want to talk to you all about if you're really considering buying, whether or not you might be thinking, okay, do I want to build a brand new home, or do I want to buy something that's already pre-built and has been on the market for years, not on the market, but that was built for years and so forth. And I want to share based on my experience. So I'm going to be sharing my story of what I experienced as a first-time home buyer, purchasing a home that was already pre-built, and then also a home that was brand new, like built from scratch. Awesome. Thank you for joining me, Angela Dorch. Thank you for joining me. Let me know where you're joining me from. Even if you're not in Alabama, I would love to know who all is here listening to me today, this morning. So drop in the chat where you're joining from, and I am going to get started. And invite a friend as you're listening who is like really considering of purchasing a home, because even if you're not here in Alabama, what I'm sharing will definitely serve you in any community, any state that you live in. Okay. All right. So first thing I want to talk about based on my experience now that I'm a realtor, but when I purchased my home for the first time, I was not a realtor. So when it comes to deciding whether or not you want to buy brand new, like a brand new build or a brand new or pre-existing home, let's talk about the pre-existing. First, you want to look at, okay, do I have the time? And for me, I didn't have the time to build a home, which I will get into after I explain this process. So when I was looking to purchase a home for the first time, because I was, active duty Air Force, I was getting ready to move from San Antonio over to Virginia. At that time, I had a, school age daughter who was getting ready to go start school because she had turned 5 that August. So she started kindergarten. And then I had a 6-month-old son at the time. So for me, oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate it. So at that time, I was really focused on, okay, we're moving. Before we even get there, I don't want to be in a hotel for too long. I want to be able to just kind of find something and have it ready. So by the time we moved in, because this was around August timeframe that I went down to we decided to purchase a home because instead of renting, I'm like, okay, I wanted to finally purchase a home because being in the military, we're moving consistently. And looking back, honestly, I should have invested in an actual my home, like purchasing a home like from day one. So if you're in the military and you're renting, I highly recommend in order to kind of build that portfolio, that investment, long-term passive income. Definitely, when you PCS, when you move, when I say PCS, is just someone moving from one state to the next. Really look at maybe instead of renting, purchasing that home, and then you can rent it out when you move to the next location. So back to my story. So we decided, my ex-husband and I decided to purchase a home. So with a newborn, I flew to Virginia. It was Fort Lee, Virginia. And from there, I got my realtor, like I shared yesterday, met with her. And the reason that we wanted to purchase a home that's already pre-existing because we didn't have the time. Time was not on our side. So with a newborn, with a 5-year-old, we wanted to start the process early, get into the house by the time we moved from Texas to Virginia, and that was the goal. But sometimes we have, the goals, but things doesn't happen how it should. So definitely making sure that, okay, if you're short on time, okay, well, maybe I may need to just look at pre-existing homes. And what I did, I went down, I flew, met with my realtor at the time, and then from there we were able to, and this was just in a weekend. This was just in a weekend where I'm like, okay, I have Friday, and then I'm flying back out Sunday evening. So from Friday to Saturday and Sunday, we looked and looked, and then finally on Sunday, the day I was I was supposed to fly back out, I finally found the house. Like, okay, this is it. Let's put in an offer. And the reason I decided to select this house because one, it was already empty. It was already on a cul-de-sac. It was a foreclosure home, and it was in great condition. So you have to look at you know the type of house that you are looking for to move in. And it was moving ready. The only thing that we had to do at that time was truly just paint. Because it was a foreclosure, I believe the bank did some fixing throughout the house, and the entire inside of the house was just white, like all the walls, everything was just white. So we just had to paint when we finally got the offer accepted, and it was just a lot of painting, which wasn't hard at all because my ex-husband and I, we just went in there and just kind of paint. But before all of that happened, I had to look at, okay, where is this house located? And honestly, it was in a great community. The school was like maybe less than 5 minutes of driving from my home to the school. So for me, it was great. It was about 45 minutes, 35 to 45 minutes from my job, which I did not mind because of the community that I was in with the family and the kids. So looking at priorities. And for me, it was like making sure the community was great, the school system was great, and also the kids. Again, when you have young kids, you're looking at the school district. Are they kids in the neighborhood and so forth? So you might want to really look at, okay, do I have time to build, or do I not have the time right now and the capacity to go through the whole process of building from scratch? So you might bet so your best interest might be to buy a pre-home. And one thing I like about pre-build homes is the fact that depending on the year that it was built, it's I feel like it was built with more care. Honestly. And if you can relate, let me know. Because I feel like maybe 10, 20 years ago, like these builders really like took their time. It was more quality in a sense of the supplies, equipment, and so forth that they used. Because and I will share very shortly when it comes to buying, building from scratch. And I feel like with the older homes, it's more sturdy, like it's more solid compared to the newer homes now. But it all depends on the market, depends on the builder and so forth. But definitely look at, do you have the time to go into like to spend 6 months waiting for your specific home. So definitely look at that. And then also what family, maybe your family like, hey, I need to find something that's moved in ready. Like I don't have time, especially as a military person, we don't have time to build unless you plan to build, you know, 6 months out, and you find a realtor in that location who is guiding you and making sure that you have all the information and resources that you need to ensure that you have a beautiful home when you get there, maybe 6 months or 6 to 8 months from the time you have to arrive at that specific location. So I do know that some people do, especially for, well, military, where I've had friends who like, hey, we're moving here and we want to build, and they maybe spend like a year going through that process. And that is something that you still can do. But again, if you have the time, yes. But if you don't, definitely look at buying a home that's already pre-built, but making sure that it has what you need. And it may not have 100% of all the things that you want or desire, but it should be close. And the one that we moved into back in 2010 definitely was like the the house for a first time home buyer. So definitely loved it. And when we sold it, it was more than what we paid for it. And also when we moved into that home, even though it was a foreclosure, like I shared yesterday, we had 20K in equity already in that home. So it was a win for us. So that is what you want to look at when you are deciding whether or not you want to buy a pre-built home. Now, if you have time, okay, if you have time to spare, then you may want to look into buying or building a home from scratch, even as a first-time home buyer, because you get to design, you get to pick out the floor plan, you get to pick out the colors, you get to do all the things, and you get to see the build from ground up to the top, to the finished product. And I'm going to share my story. So that was my first experience of my first home was a pre-built home. Definitely loved it. Then the second home was a build from scratch. And the reason I decided to build from scratch was because I was living on base, on the military base. Oh, excuse me. And I said, okay, I want to move. And when I first got here in Alabama, Montgomery, I was looking to purchase, but then I didn't buy anything. But looking back, I should have because COVID happened. I should have, but life happens, you move on. So I decided to purchase a home a couple years ago. And I was looking at some pre-built home, but it was not, well, one, it was the crazy prices. And then two, it was the room, the spacious, the floor plan was not what I wanted. And I found this new build as I was driving around, because usually when you're looking to buy a home, guess what? You're driving around, you're looking at all the homes, you're like, man, I want to see this and so forth. And I found this beautiful build and by Stone Martin, the builders, and the floor plan was open floor plan. And as soon as I walked in, I'm like, yes, I love this house, the floor plan, the spaciousness, and so forth. So I decided to, you know, hire a realtor. This person guided me. We signed the contract, and I did that because I had the time. I was already in a home where, okay, I don't have a lease. I have a lease. I'm renting, so I don't have to just, move out. I can decide I can stay here for the next 6 months or whatever, how much long it takes, and then transition out. But the only thing with a build is that the company may say, hey, it's going to take us 6 months, but then things happen. Supply and demand. Maybe they're not getting the supplies that they need to finish up a specific portion of that home. So now you have to wait. And now the timeline to complete the home went from 6 months to 7 months, then maybe from 7 months to 8, 9 months because of supply and demand. And during the time I was building my home, it was right around COVID. So the cost of the items to build the home went up significantly. So I had to pay extra money on top of what I planned for. So that is something you have to really look at. Okay, there may be an additional cost that you did not expect due to the fact that supply and demand. And in the contract, it will say, hey, there's an opportunity for an additional cost. It's not, we're not predicting it, but we're just making you aware just in case this percentage will be added on to the cost of the home. So definitely, if you have the time to be like, hey, I'm willing to wait 6 to 8 months to build this home, and depending on the builder, how fast they move. But again, like I said, sometimes they're moving fast and things get not what, some things may happen when you move into the home. You may start seeing things that you did not see during the build. So definitely, you have to be mindful of building a home. It's a great experience. I definitely enjoyed it because I was able to go to the home and see the framework, see how, when they, did the concrete slab, and then they built the frame. And then it's like, now you have rooms, you have, doors and all the things. And now I'm like, imagine, okay, I can do this in this room, the beautiful countertops, the cabinets, picking out, like, all of that was a great experience. But also it took time, and I'm like, okay, when are we going to move in? When are we going to sign? When are we going to close? So you have to be very patient in that process. And even though you have a specific timeline, things are happening that are out of your control as a buyer. So as a first time home buyer, I want you to think, do I have the time to build my property from scratch, especially if you feel like you've been searching and you've been looking and you have not found anything that you are excited about, and you are more like, okay, I want to create and build my home from scratch. Then if you have the time, then yes, go ahead, do it. It's a great experience. But if you don't have the time because of family, because of maybe you're transitioning to a new job, or just time is not on your side, then definitely I would say identify what you like and really look at buying a pre-built home that meets your budget, meets your requirement, and so forth, because you want to make sure at the end of the day, does it make sense to you? Okay. So today was all about sharing with you the different sides of a home that is pre-built and a brand new home. Great experience in both. At least with the pre-built home, it was like, okay, 30 days, a little bit over 30 days, maybe a month and a half, we were able to move into that home. Compared to the build, we had to wait more than 6 months. I think almost 8 months, because of supply and demand and all the things, backlog on flooring and different things. So just keep that in mind. So let me know if you are considering purchasing a home. Are you thinking about building from scratch, or are you like, hey, I don't have the time and I'm ready to just move in? Okay. Well, are there any questions? If they are, let me know. You can just drop the questions here and I will come back and answer those questions. If you have questions about, the Montgomery and surrounding areas, and you would love to learn more, you can just click the link in my bio and book a free consultation. It is free. I will be here tomorrow, maybe at a different time. But I want to thank you all for joining me. I am Shevvy Mack, and I'm a realtor with KW Montgomery here in Montgomery, Alabama. And I help you buy and sell in the surrounding areas, and also making sure that I not only serve you, but I also educate you so that you can make the best choice for yourself and for your family. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you all later. And if you're watching this after later on, hashtag replay. Let me know if you are a first time home buyer by dropping a 2 in the chat. All right. Okay. I will see you all tomorrow.